أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So we are continuing the topic of the love of dunya and how that is related to the diseases of the heart, حب الدنيا. The ailment that I want to talk about today is actually an ailment that becomes a root cause of so many of our dysfunctional habits. And it's actually the root cause of even a lot of our mental health challenges. And that is something called uncertainty intolerance. And I'll explain what that is. It's the inability to tolerate uncertainty. I do not feel comfortable accepting or tolerating uncertainty. Now, before I talk about how that shows up and what is the cure, I want to begin by talking about the roots. Where did this come from? What does it look like? And where did it come from? So when someone in their early childhood experiences an environment where there is chaos, or there is lack of safety, or there is unpredictability. So for example, maybe the caretaker was very kind and loving one moment and then would snap the next moment, or would be very present one moment and then would give the cold shoulder or the silent treatment the next. So lack of predictability, lack of consistency, or chaos. When the child feels unsafe in their environment, they can't control anything about their environment, and their environment is not keeping them safe. And when we talk about safety, we know that we do not just mean physical safety, which is obvious, but we also mean emotional safety. So for example, having your emotions dismissed consistently, or having your emotions belittled, shamed. You're not allowed to feel that, or maybe you are punished for your emotions. These are all different types of lack of safety. It's not only the physical safety, but also emotional safety, because our emotions are an essential part of us. And when it is not safe to feel a part of us, it causes problems. And so when a child grows up in an environment where they maybe felt there was a lack of control, lack of consistency, a lack of predictability, and a lack of safety, chaos. So what happens is, as a survival mechanism, this person will feel that they need a sense of control over their environment. And so now that they are an adult, they are no longer in those same circumstances, but the nervous system has already been programmed. And so the nervous system becomes extremely dysregulated or extremely panicked when there is uncertainty. We have learned that uncertainty is unsafe, because in childhood it was. We didn't feel safe. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know whether or not we would be accepted or shunned. We don't know if we were going to be loved or dismissed. You understand? Whether someone was going to be there for us or not. And so what happened is that as a survival mechanism, that person now, as an adult, no longer in that environment, but the nervous system is programmed to need a sense of certainty. I need to feel a sense of certainty and control. Now, I will tell you that this is an illusion. This is actually an illusion because Allah did not create dunya with the ability to have control or certainty. Literally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created a world called dunya, which by definition is uncertain. By definition is uncertain. We cannot be certain of what is going to happen 1 minute from now. Can any of you guarantee what is going to happen 1 second from now? You know, people who were in the earthquakes, you know, the massive earthquakes that happened, for example, in Turkey. It was in the middle of the night, right? There was one moment they are safe in their bed, and the next moment it's an earthquake. And this is the reality of dunya. Now that, for a person who grew up believing that uncertainty equals threat, that is very stressful. That feels scary. If I cannot control my environment, I feel very unsettled. That is called uncertainty intolerance. I do not have the ability to tolerate uncertainty. And now the issue here is, like I said, we live in a world that by definition is uncertain. And so if I am not able to tolerate uncertainty, what is going to happen to me? I'm going to suffer. But in that suffering, there's going to be certain habits that I will develop. So how will that show up? Well, it'll look like needing to know the plan to the dot. You know what I'm saying? To the minute. I need to know the plan. And then if the plan changes, I don't like that. I feel very anxious. Do you understand what's happening? This is what I'm describing. It shows up as overthinking. Now, the thing about overthinking, so if I go back to this root cause of the inability to handle uncertainty, in a world that by definition is uncertain, then what I do is, one psychologist called it the overs. Overthinking, over-explaining, overworking, over-functioning, over-planning. Are you guys understanding here? All of the overs are actually a way for me to reduce the anxiety that my nervous system feels with uncertainty. Do you know what overthinking is? Overthinking is the mind's way, the nervous system's way to create the sense of certainty. That's what you're actually trying to do when you overthink. What you're trying to do is control the situation. You can't control it externally, perhaps, or you feel out of control because it's like I can't control every factor, right? My child is acting a certain way. I can't control it. My husband, my wife is acting I can't control it. Bad things are happening. I can't control it. There are things in my environment and I can't control it. So what do? I go into my mind and I try to find control there. And that is overthinking. It's actually me trying to create an illusion of control. So what do? I will replay what happened over and over and over. And what do I do as I'm replaying it? So you know how when something negative happens, for example, somebody gets injured. You all know what I'm talking about. You have children. You know that person who, when someone gets injured, they immediately look for something to blame? They immediately look for why it was XYZ's fault, why it was, sometimes they'll blame the person who got hurt, usually, right? We'll be like, it's because you did this. You shouldn't have done this, that, right? And I'm not talking about, obviously we have to learn, and we have to keep our children safe, but I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about maybe something was an accident. It's not like your kid is like, okay, if your kid is like climbing onto the ceiling, okay, obviously, you would focus on, okay, you shouldn't be climbing on the ceiling. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even when it is an accident and that person becomes so distressed by the lack of control, by the feeling that I could not control what happened, that they will need to find a way to feel in control by saying, it's because you ate celery in the morning. You guys get it? See, the celery, like a piece of it, got stuck in your throat. And because it was in your throat, it distracted you, and that's why you fell and sprained your ankle. And now I've just momentarily reduced my anxiety of feeling that I am not in control of everything.